How you doing, everyone? Turkey Buzzard here. Hope you're having a good day. Back in the 60s, there used to be a show on TV called Gilligan's Island. It was a family-based show about a group of people who became marooned on a tropical island. So that's what I decided to build this week, and we'll start out with their ship, which was called the SS Minnow. The skipper of this ship was named Jonas Grumby, and he was played by Alan Hale Jr. The main character of the series was a young first mate named Gilligan, who was played by Bob Denver. The skipper and Gilligan had 5 passengers that day: Mr. and Mrs. Thurston Howell III, millionaires, played by Jim Backus and Natalie Schaefer. Here we get a good look at the lagoon, where a lot of the scenes took place in the series. Now, besides the Howells, the SS Minnow also had 3 other passengers. One was a beautiful movie star named Ginger Grant, who was played by Tina Louise. Then there was also a professor named Roy Hinckley, who was played by Russell Johnson, and a young farm girl named Mary Ann Summers, who was played by Dawn Wells. As you can see, I put a lot of work into placing jungle plants and trees into this build. Anyway, the 7 castaways became stranded on this island, and they found a clearing where they built grass huts to live in. Being a comedy series, each episode was either about Gilligan getting into trouble, or maybe someone who visited the island and would leave without taking everyone with them. So let's check out the skipper and Gilligan's hut. Gilligan and the skipper slept in hammocks, but we don't have any in Fallout 4, so I had to make do. And this wardrobe was an important prop in a couple of the episodes. Other than that, I just set a few items around that Gilligan and the skipper may have collected along the way. Next, let's go check out the professor's hut. Now, the professor was a very brilliant guy who supposedly had 4 different degrees, and he could make anything. However, for some reason, he just could not seem to repair the ship or get them off the island. However, anything else that they needed while they were on the island, the professor seemed to be able to build it without too much trouble. Everyone always ate outside at a big long table, and their radio, which they salvaged from the ship, was always a very prominent part of the series. Now, back in the 60s, women were still expected to do the cooking, the cleaning, the ironing, things like that, so Ginger and Mary Ann always got stuck doing those chores. Of course, being a movie star, a glamorous movie star, Ginger was always more worried about her appearance than anything else. And there was actually one episode where a girl who looked like Ginger came onto the island and tried to assume Ginger's identity. Now, the last hut which we'll check out is the one that belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Thurston Howell III. And again, because it was the 60s, on TV, married couples were not allowed to sleep in the same bed, therefore they had separate beds. Now let's talk a little bit about trunks. Mr. and Mrs. Howell had this trunk that had millions and millions of dollars in it. Every time you'd look in there, it was right full of cash. In fact, throughout the series, these people came up with more costumes, equipment, and supplies that couldn't possibly not only have fit in their trunks, but even on the ship itself. But no one ever questioned that. It was just a fun series, a comedy about 7 stranded castaways who couldn't seem to get off of this tropical island. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of Gilligan's Island. I put a lot of work, especially into laying this jungle down. And one last bit of trivia about Gilligan, although his full name was never mentioned on the series, had they mentioned it, his full name would have been Willie Gilligan. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you did, please hit that like button. I appreciate it when you do, and as always, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I put out new videos every week. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you again real soon.